show your love.
3 FM Sunrise. 3 FM Sunrise. 3 FM.
No free
Start your day with Sunrise on 92.7 3 FM. 3 FM. 3 FM Sunrise.
It's 15 minutes after 6 here on 3FM 92.7. Checking out 3news.com. That's our website, and you can also listen to us live on 3news.com. Debt exchange isn't compulsory, so Fair Kufu expressed their views. Husseini Issa is a lawyer and former member of parliament of Tamale Central. It's evil to include pensioners in debt exchange program. Presidential candidate hopeful Dr. Niamu Daku. To point finger at Duchum for collecting monies for school placement, absurd Mark Ewusi. That's what he says, at least. He's saying that to Manasseh Azuria, winner of the 4th estate. Mahama laid solid foundation upstream petroleum sector. Jenapot tells Energy Ministry. World Radio Day. Anybody who's on radio without training is a danger to society. Broadcast journalism lecture. And also closure of Court of Appeal sittings in 4 regions. Is wrong. Kwame Agboja is MP for Adaklu, and also the minority chief whip. Chief Justice directs all courts of appeals to hold their sessions and cut expenditure. Ken Thompson tells government, well, this will be the umpteenth time since this has been said to government, cut down the size of your government. But government is not budging.
Well, they're not going to budge now that they've achieved, as they say, 80% of the target for this DDEP. I don't see a cut down anytime soon. They've managed to find a way to get participants to get this bailout, if you will. So good news on that front, but I don't think that will be enough of an incentive to get government to cut down on the size of anything.
Is it not surprising that, especially given the fact that Mr. Akufo-Addo, then now President Akufo-Addo, had to beg, incessantly, to be given the opportunity to lead. And now the people who he begged to lead are telling him what they want him to do, and he doesn't seem to care, not to hear. Former Chief Justice has spoken, Ken Thompson, Joe Jackson, Kwame Pienim, a stalwart in the MPP, name it. Who hasn't spoken? But, well, he doesn't care.
I've had government communicators answer that point, or give reasons to why. They say, or that particular gentleman, I'll try and recall the name. He said it's not that government isn't listening; they're listening, but it could be that they don't agree.
They don't agree.
So it's two ways. They're hearing you, but they don't agree with what you're saying. If government says they have the men, they have the resource, they have the ideas.
Right.
Anybody on the outs, maybe they see that person not to have the ideas, not to have the men, not to have the resource. So according to some communicators, they are listening,
but they are not hearing.
But they are not hearing because they have the solutions and you don't. That's the posturing.
That's not how it works.
Because that's how we have a whole communication machinery at the presidency, the party, the ministry. It's an interactive project.
It's a given thing.
When you wanted to get the votes, that's not how it worked.
Yeah.
So you have to tell us something.
But for me, if government communicators, for example, say that, well, the government is listening, but they don't agree, you are running government not from your pocket. You're running government from my taxes, from your taxes, from that Makala woman's taxes. And to the end that my income tax is bigger than my tithe, which I pay to God. And I consider that I worry God more than I worry my government. And my government gets more from me than my God does. I should ask the government questions. And it doesn't lie in their mouth to suggest to us that, they disagree. You disagree with what? Are you governing yourself?
Okay, so hearing and listening, there's a difference.
There's a difference. That's true.
The hearing is the process of function or power of perceiving sound specifically. The special sense by which noises and tones are received.
Right.
Now the listening is paying attention to that sound
and taking action.
And giving it consideration.
Yes.
They are not listening.
And in fact, action.
Yes. Have you given consideration at least?
Yes.
The man, they are hearing you. The man
is listening to you.
That's why we describe the man as arrogant.
Yeah.
In as far back as whenever it was.
19 Kojo.
Yeah, the man was described as arrogant because all we are saying is in his name. As we speak, nobody remembers President Kufuor's last great minister.
Yes.
If I say who was President Kufuor's local government minister, you may one or two of them.
Right.
But President Kufuor's name is always on our lips.
Yes. Courage Kwashiga would accept within that.
Time,
yes. Yeah.
But Kufuor's legacy will be in his name. So he's the one who is supposed to be pushing. And
but is he that concerned about what legacy am I leaving behind?
Here, we don't know because he's not. Anytime he comes out to address us, he sounds patronizing.
Stuff like
that. We've had examples of that. It's not funny, Charlie.
You sound like the president.
I mean, and you know what? Like I said, I'm not one to do comparison. I'm not here to compare whose IMF program was better than whose. But if we can pick something from history, and as William will remind us,
we learn from history that we do not learn from history.
Now, according to Oxfam, Ghana's 2015 IMF program, they say, was one of the most open in the world. They talk about the fact that there was collaboration with CSOs, that things were more transparent, and that the dialogue, the dialogue that went to make it a successful and, as I say, open and transparent. This is according to Oxfam. So you can learn from history that, okay, if in 2015, because of a more dialogue, inviting even opposition, inviting CSOs, made for a more open and a better IMF engagement, why don't we go back to the things that we've done well and pick the lessons from there and incorporate it into this particular time?
We talk about Jamaica, we talk about other countries have gone through this IMF thing, and the conversation is that they consulted. The government is having all these difficulties because, in the first place, they refuse to consult. They have had to go back to these pensioners and civil servants and everybody else, because if they had succeeded in the first instance, when they wanted to just do things the way they wanted, and they had succeeded, they wouldn't have cared about any of these consultations and exemptions. They won't have. And I said something yesterday, I'll say again. Government now appears to be towing the line of accountability because the IMF is demanding to know.
So you mentioned even about the COVID-19
Thank
audit.
you. The IMF is demanding to know. If the government doesn't care. The government doesn't care. That's the painful part, because you're running your dreams and whatever lofty ideas you have on my taxes. Well, this morning, the president will not buy fuel to put in his car. It is what is collected from us or borrowed on our behalf or donated to us from whichever place, which will be used. His cook will be paid by my taxes. Same for his ministers and other appointees. His houseboy, his security, even where he sleeps, what he eats. So when I take care of you, even find clothes for you to wear, and now you want to dictate to me as if I don't matter anymore, it doesn't make sense. Which employee is more stronger than the employer? Johnnie, anywhere in the world.
Johnnie, let me ask you a question. You have a car.
Have you seen a watchman? I'm coming. Have you seen a watchman who's supposed to open the gate for his boss? Tell the boss that you have to be home by 9.
Yes, I've seen one. I'll explain. That watchman.
Yes.
If you have some information, and the boss knows that the watchman has some information,
and he can use it, and madam can get the information.
Exactly. He can order the man to come home at night. The man will come.
Wow.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's.
Yes, the watchman can command his boss to come home at 8. I don't come.
If not, let's talk to Felicity. Felicity is gone. Charlie, it's a serious matter. Yeah. But if the watchman has information that you and the house girl or you and some other madam,
you can't even sack him.
You can't sack him. He will be misbehaving.
You're asking me the question. I've answered
Yeah, he can come and sit. He can come and sit in your hall and cross his leg, and you can't do focus because you have. What man has information you. But the Ghanaian Times this morning says GS to build school in Atiagome after 8 school children drowned in the Volta Lake. Well, we are always coming back to solve the. Dr. Nkansa is in front with some dignitaries wearing the jackets during his visit to Atiagome. Huge photo opportunity. Huge support for Houghton as Black Stars coach. Police gunned down suspected armed robbers at Chive Otame. Okay, and ECG Netco Gridco 2.7 billion Ghana cedis debt threatens power distribution as government takes steps to avoid disruption. Fake documents used to claim ownership of imported rights. OSP tells the court. Is this from Dr. Baumia's office? On the back page, whole multi-purpose youth sports center 85% complete, and WHO supports new regions with vehicles, office equipment. Helen, what do you have?
All right, the Finder newspaper this morning says, let's use radio to promote peace and unity. Upon Nkrumah speaking there. For those of you who've missed him, you can find him on the front page of the Finder. Also, bondholders demand outstanding payments on due bonds. That's another side of the coin. Those wanting to take their monies. We'll talk about it as the review goes on. Pass broadcasting bill now. You've got the GJA president on the front page. Remember, yesterday, of course, was World Radio Day. Zipline delivers 14.8 items comprising life-saving vaccines, blood, and other medical products. I've also got the ABC newspaper. They say they are on the side of truth on the front page. Dr. Addison, Bank of Ghana's intervention prevented economic standstill. That was also captured in the Finder yesterday, and page 2 was quite a lengthy piece. I had a chance to have a sift through. Very interesting read. Okujeto in a car gift mess. This is Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, MP North Tongue, still in the papers. He's been quite prominent on the front pages for a few weeks now. As he likes to say, I've intercepted this document.
Intercepted the document.
The MPP communicator said, you have not intercepted anything. This is public information. To intercept is a completely different thing. But
the point is that if the thing already existed, why did the government not make it available to us?
Would you make it available? We would always say, over 100 million.
We would always say, go and use the RTI. Go and use the RTI.
Don't even get me started, Johnny, on the RTI. Down.
And I like the way the government cherry picks. So when they want you to know something, they bring it out. And then when you ask for something that is supposed to be out there but it's not, they say, use the RTI.
Yeah. The challenges with the RTI are known.
How have we actually operationalized the RTI? How have we done that? Yesterday we were talking about media training and professionalism and standards, and I said, look, you can train people or you may. In fact, the government said they were going to embark on all 16 regions training, right? How many regions did we do? They've already lost steam. Kojo Nkrumah is not talking anymore about that particular one.
He said, let's use radio to promote peace and unity. He's talking small.
Peace and unity.
Peace and unity.
All right. On the front page of the Anchor, as Helen's people will say.
Yeah,
on the front page of the
Portia will say Anchor. We say Anchor.
Yes, the Anchor. Revealing the truth, that's their tagline. MPP forces sabotaging my work. That's according to the Greater Accra Regional Minister. And this one is not new. Regional Minister review says our people claim I've become too powerful. So my wings should be clipped. You remember Ajiri Blankson? I remember about you saying, remember all those regional ministers. If I do come on air, the party people will come on air and mention your name and damn whatever you're doing and say, leave that by people alone. So then,
but this is not the first time Henry Korte himself is saying that. You know, at some point he even mentioned that people wanted to kill him. And I said that within that 9-month period, when the president had to let us wait unnecessarily, the president had to let us wait unnecessarily before giving us MMDCEs. It gave Henry Korte some power, if you will, because then the assemblies were not there. His job as boss of the coordinating council is to coordinate, as the nomenclature says. But he now went down to demolishing this and demolishing that. And you saw how he was leading, and he had about 30 people following him and all of that. I thought that showmanship was unnecessary because all that franchise, in fact, had been bought by Natnunu Amatefu, and they had finished that franchise. So coming back to it, was really unnecessary, because if you had your eyes on the ground, it should not have happened. And I would have wished that the Operation Clean Your Frontage guys would have been given back their jobs in the strict sense of the word, and then you had the Metro guards also doing. Then he won't have to come and be saying some of what he's saying, because if there are Metro guards, there are inspectors, there's Operation Clean Your Frontage. How dare you mount a billboard where it's not supposed to be mounted in the first place? You have a task force. So you go and set up one thing, you refuse to pay them, they go home, and then you come and talk tough.
But good to know that following the story that we did about the non-payment of their wages, they've been paid some money.
They've been paid some. I think about 2 months or 3 months. Some money. So we hope that they call them back. So that also tells us that radio gets results. But then, is it sustainable? That's the next question.
That's another day,
because they gave us a vision for keeping them there. Okay, mind you, every assembly has Metro guards who are supposed to be doing the same thing that these guys were recruited and trained, given military training to come and do. So
anyway, still on the front page.
Henry Cote, I think he talks too much.
Well,
and I think that sometimes
when he does the how do you call it, the active things, when he takes action to then people are complaining.
Well, but the point
becoming too powerful.
But the point is that
this morning he's talking, he's not acting because.
But he needs to act. That's why we put him there.
This is his own party people, not NDC. His own party people are saying that he's become too powerful, so they should clip his wings.
But and
we know that over the years, Ajuri Blanksin,
Okovandaboy.
I remember when.
In fact, Okovandaboy had to bring the red line policy to satisfy his party.
Young of the NDC were on air lambasting Okovandaboy for being too hard on, and he will lose votes and so on. So that this narrative has been there. So I mean, creating a balance between you talking and you acting, you come in there and still.
But William, you see, it always comes back to us not fixing the problems, but trying to put powder on it. I always praise President Kufuor. When he came, he saw Kanishi Market was full. Rawlins's Kanishi Market was full. He saw Makola 1 and 2 was full. He started the process of expansion in Makola. President Mills came to continue it. But Kufuor gave the people of the Nkrumah Circle the pedestrian market. As we speak now, since it caught fire in 2021, it has not been reconstructed. So the people that Kufuor took off the pavement
are back
and put them in are actually back. And Henry Cote led President Akufo-Addo to the place with Ajesoa to go and promise them. Why is he coming back to come and cry that his own party people want to clip his wings? Fix the market.
Anyway,
fix the market. If you fix the market, you create, because we pretend as if the markets are not expanding. But the easy way for most people to make money these days is to start something small on a tabletop. And they need to go where people will come and buy, so that they sell and then they make more profit. They can scale up if business is good. You have not created the avenue. You can't find government jobs for them. So even if I want to go and sell tomatoes, where do I put my table to sell my tomatoes? Create them. Well, but is it realistic?
Well,
because the people they took to Ajen Kotoku, they are back there. Those were the guys that we find on the front page that they have been restricted from selling at Agbogbloshe by a whole court. We must be complete in our processes. You move people from Agbogbloshe, take them to Ajen Kotoku, and you fail to create shade for them. They should sell in the sun and on the ground, food stuff, and then we'll go and buy the gems and take it back to our tables and go and eat. Come on.
Yes, so as a matter of urgency, this is something that needs to be addressed, because we're trying to find as much money as possible.
Today.
I've said on this show several times that there's no commitment to develop. We are just not ready to develop. I mean, so that's what it is. You said putting powder on issues. And still on
we are polishing page, on that.
Yes, still on the front page of the Anchor. School placement rots. Architects, profiteers are still opposed as the Education Minister dodges Parliament again. So although we've made some arrests in that respect, the story is saying that there are some people there who are still taking money from parents, and the students are supposed to go to school on Monday 20th, and the placements are still not done. when my daughter had to go to school, we got the placement on Friday and were ordered to come to school on Monday. So you can imagine.
So where were you going to collect the money from? To buy the things on the prospectus.
We hadn't even gotten the school, so I wouldn't know the list of items to buy. So you can't just go and buy any and everything.
Right.
Because you buy and you go there, they say this
specific
is
stuff.
School, this is stuff like that. So it was. I mean, I don't know how school placements, when it was with the headmasters, we had issues. Now it is with the machine, we have issues. So where else can we do the placements?
You see, me, I'm even concerned about the length of time that the children have spent in school. They have spent just about 5 weeks.
And you've asked them to come back.
We know that a semester or a term is about 3 months thereabout.
That's right.
So this whole explanation by the ministry's PRO that this is a transitional system, we're trying to get out of this double track or this chaka basa hunyai, I don't get it. Because if children go to school for 5 weeks, it is obvious that it's either there's no money to feed them, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have furniture, they don't have beds if they're in boarding school, there's an issue with textbooks, utility bills, something is the problem. And of course, we do know at this point that feeding has become a problem.
That's right.
Mind you, we're not only talking about boarding school or boarders. We're talking about day school students who were also told that they will be given one hot meal a day. Is that being fulfilled? I don't know. So there is a problem. And this is where we need to come to the table. This is where government needs to be truthful to itself to say, I told you after I left that pediatric retreat that we will review all the flagship programs of government. Where are we now in trying to review the flagship program called Free SHS? Because we cannot continue to use it as a political tool for election and election victory. That is breaking the eight. Because the kind of children we are building, I mean, somebody goes to school for 5 weeks. I won't be surprised that the next time they return to school, they are in Form 2.
So how long are they away for when they break off the 5 weeks?
I had somebody who went to a Desadel college in my home. At the advent of COVID, first term was in 2020. And then the schools were shut down for a full year, you remember?
Yeah.
And then when they went back in 2021, they were in secondary school Form 2.
After having been in Form 1 for how long?
For less than a term. I know this. They are the ones who are going to university level 100 this year. They went to school less than a term in 2020, all right? And then by the time the schools were shut down, they came back in 2021. They were already in Form 2. They did this shambolic matra makwa ajana 2, and before you knew it, they were in Form 3, and then they were ready to go and write their WASI. So if we are not being smart enough to get them an extra classes teacher, to form WhatsApp groups for them to be learning on their own, they would have been doomed. It's a reality. That a lot of, so we are just not interested in quality
this
anymore.
Is not isolated,
no,
is it?
No.
Because when we spoke with Honorable Fati last year, she's the Deputy Information Minister. She said some of these instances, especially as far as school feeding is concerned, they are isolated
they
instances.
Are not isolated.
But you hear it so often that, what is the truth? This is not an isolated
They are not
instance.
isolated. And you see, this is not me saying. I mean, there are parents who are listening now who know it. I mean, if your child left home on 9th of January or so and is returning on the 19th of February, it doesn't make sense. Because the child is now coming back to you, and then right after Easter, the child is going back to school again with another load of provisions and whatever it is, because the school, you're not serving them the food in the schools. So we need to be real with ourselves. What quality are we building? First of all, we are not interested in the quality from the JHS. So even if you get aggregate 3,000, you get a secondary school to attend. And even if you get aggregate 50,000, you get a secondary school to attend, because we want everybody pool free. We're just passing. Yes, we're just interested in the numbers to go and say that, this year we got so many to go into free SHS, and this year we got so many who wrote the WASI. I mean, what quality are we building? And I have had an opportunity to do seminars in some universities, and it's for level 100s or level 200s, and you start speaking with them, and they fire questions and subject verb agreement, their thought pattern, everything is bazaar. So what are we doing? And I'm surprised that it is our Minister for Education, with all the technocrats around him who are supposed to be advisors to the minister, who are superintending over this. Because if it doesn't make sense, it is nonsense. It doesn't make sense, so it is nonsense.
But I think we should have paid attention to the foundation of the free SHS, because the individuals who go to the secondary schools should have some very solid foundation at the GHS level. I'm used to saying GSS. Yeah,
Just as
so the executive director of the Education Watch, Kofi Asare, is saying that he does not see government actively working to change the narrative of inadequate furniture in rural classrooms. Furniture. According to him, it feels like government did not prioritize the foundation of basic education. So it means that we still have problems. This weekend I saw Komla Adam's report from the north. There was another report on CTFM from Ekunfi area. And another from this DJ Mensa, Sakudia's DJ. He went to his hometown to donate some books and commission a library that he had built. And when he went to realize that, look, the problem of basic education is not just in the north; it's all over the place. We didn't take care of the just furniture. Kids are still learning under trees in very shambolic structures. When it rains, you have to leave and run home, because where they are, they will get drenched. And these are the things that I say, look, we are not even taking care of the world view of the children. Yeah. Because if you train a child like this, what are you putting?
What kind of patriotism are you? Yes.
Are you painting for him?
They go to school, there are no desks, they lie on the floor to write. Then
it's survival tactics from such a young age.
Yes. Then school feeding comes, the food is basa. And then you are not paying the caterers, even though it's 97 pesos, because that's the contractual sum. So the caterer will also tier no kofio, deduct no kofio to survive.
So must we wake up every morning to come and then lament as a country?
But the people who do these policies, who create these policies, they don't have their children in the schools.
Exactly. And the kind of products that we are churning out from our schools are like speedometers on old cars. You sit in your car, very old car, they've changed the engine like 20 times, but you see the speedometer there.
Egbo.
So the speedometer there doesn't mean anything. It is there. So and the children are going to school.
So people,
see, when they come out, it's like.
So people who drive those cars, they actually don't see the fuel gauge. They know the fuel gauge. So
they are the only ones who can drive those cars.
So after driving for some time, it says, "Oh, I need a refill," but you see the fuel gauge.
If you sit in that car, you can't start it.
You can't start it.
So it's only a Kufado and his team who are able to run the economy.
It's a whole gym.
The whole is going to collapse, and then as always, we're going to be very reactive.
We have to go. We have to go. Thank you, guys. It's 6:42. Yeah. Well, there's love in the air.